Okay, good. Okay, here we are on a Saturday or on a weekend, a Saturday or a Sunday. But I'm in a car and I don't actually know what date it is for sure. Fred, do you want to do the formal introduction and get started? And then I'll be
Okay.
home in just a few minutes. Okay?
Okay. Here is the ninth, and over there it's the eighth. And let's get started. So, Richard, how are you feeling, and what is your desired takeaway today?
Well, I'm pretty good, although I'm uh, really troubled by the fires that are happening now in our neighboring province. We now have a town of 12,000 people who have been told to evacuate the entire town. A big fire blew up on Friday or Saturday, and within minutes, it was so dangerous that they had to evacuate the entire area. So, and it's in what's called the Okanagan Valley, which is one of the main sort of corridors for fruit growing and apple trees and vineyards and all that sort of thing. It's just really, really bad. So, uh, this is sort of like an oasis away from some of the worries that I know people have about what's happening to their homes, their lives, their their entire sort of life has sort of gone up in flames, literally in front of them. So anyway, I'm looking forward to um, more of the readings and perhaps more of the discussion around a boundary that allows us to be as flexible and as focused as possible inside that boundary. Anne, how are you feeling, and what's your expectations for this evening?
Yeah.
Or
Thank you, Richard. Yeah, very, very sad to hear that, yeah. Especially when things are out of control and you can't really do anything about it. Um, Mine on my side, I have something really, really, really exciting to share because this is a culmination of the meetings that we've been having today. And if and with contributions from all of you, at the end of the our meet 5 minutes, if I can just show you what the outcome is, I'll be so absolutely thrilled. So it started off with Fred asking me to do a one pager. Fred, you have no idea what it has become. I sat down and worked on it actually the past few weeks, and I just couldn't quite get a handle as to how to share it, right? Because it's so much. I just downloaded everything I was just typing everything down, my thoughts, and it became a document which has become like a written blueprint so that people don't forget exactly what it is that we're doing, and every department and so on and so forth. So it became that. And then I had one for my biosphere school, which I wrote down for everybody. And it started off with you asking me, and I just loaded it all down. So trying to figure out how to pull it out into one page, yeah. But then at the end of the day, I decided to and this is also Steve. Oh my God, Steve! Uh, the first book I ever write from after this will be the first book in what is coming up. I'm gonna have to. I'm gonna be dedicating it to you, Blair and Kelly. Yeah, the first book, and then subsequent ones. I've got one where I'm gonna be dedicating to all of you. But the point was that when I put it into ChatGPT and created my own GPT, yeah, it taught me how to do that. I just want to share with you what came out was crazy, crazy, crazy. I would love to share it with you at the end of the day. So the education evolutionist actually came from Steve, who said, and you should be called education evolutionist. And it's grown into something where because I've got tons and tons and tons of content, tons and tons of things that we have done, from videos to writing to content to curriculum, training, and so on. So the key thing was the ChatGPT pulled out all the things that is just primarily us and told me what my IP, the load of IPs that we've got. And he said, you gotta have to, it's not the books you should be focusing on, it's the IP that you have to be focusing on. And what I need to trademark, yada yada, it became that, and a whole series. It's not one book I can see, it's a whole series, and planned it out as to, and gave me like real, pull out the things that I have, and also the other things that I've written with the talks using, I think, loading it into ChatGPT and things like this. So it pulled those things out, and then I loaded in the blueprint. I loaded in the vision for the biosphere and what we have done. What came out of it is a whole other this whole other thing that came up. Anyway, I just thought I'll share. Thank you so much. It's I know it's beyond what I ever imagined. Okay, and then there's one book on war games that, and that's one maybe we can all do together. I was thinking, how do we do this together? And I was looking, I think we could do that together. So anyway, thank you very much. So over to, is Steve going last or Fred going last?
It doesn't matter. Joe is here.
Okay, then over to you then, Fred. How do you feel and what is your takeaway? What would you like to take away today?
Thank you, Anne. Very interesting, the process of writing your one-page summary of what you're doing. This is turning into something else. I wanted to make it to make it confined, and then it's just suddenly explode and expand. So it's really interesting process. Maybe when you apply pressure, that's when things start to transform. That's the processes we're talking about on the Wednesdays. Under temperature and pressure, you got a change of phase. That's what's happening maybe. Here is Sunday, and we have a typhoon coming. It's not going to be a direct hit, but we already have quite a bit of rain and wind. It's not very easy to take the dogs out, but that's mostly the main inconvenience is dogs have to pee in the car park, but that's okay. It's no big deal. Neighbors not happy that the dogs pee in front of their cars, but that's okay. Other than that, let's finalize the rules of engagement, and then we can keep going a little bit, if you see what I mean.
Has Joe shared?
Not yet.
Has Joe shared it yet?
Not yet, but it's my turn, so please let me finish. I'm done.
Oh,
So, Joe,
Go ahead and finish.
how you feeling, and what is your desired takeaway?
I'm feeling great. It's good to see everybody, and it's really good to see you, Lee. Everybody was worried on Wednesday, and it was really nice to see when you guys had a moment of light, that you're out and about, and that means a lot. So it's already a wonderful meeting. I too look to finalize the rules of engagement, and keep pushing forward on some things. Maybe the book itself, who knows? We'll see where things lead. But I'm excited to be here. It's always, sometimes it's 11 o'clock here on Saturday night, and sometimes it gets a little tough to log in. But once you log in, it's really a reminder of just how fortunate we all are. So once we see each other, so for that, I'm very grateful. And it's been a good day. So with that, I guess Steve, you're the last
There's
person, or
Steve and there's
Lee. Lee
Lee next
would
to him.
be so I mean, if Lee's up to it, great. If Steve, if you're able to check in without um putting yourself at any kind of risk, great. Either one. Lee, if you're up for it, it would be really great to hear your voice and hear you check in.
I'm okay.
Good.
I'm okay.
Go ahead, speak up.
I just came out of urgent care. They did.
Oh, wow.
They didn't do. Yeah, and they did find that I have a UTI, and they said if you have any symptoms by tomorrow left, if this one pill that I took now doesn't help anyway, I am to go back to them immediately or
Agreed.
to the university. That kind of scared me. So usually they don't say that. They say, give it 5 days and see how it feels. You're not giving me 5 days.
What's
So
a
anyway.
UCI?
UTI.
UTI
Urinary
is a
tract
urinary tract infection.
Okay, thank you. Got it. Thank you.
But I have something else too. That's what they're worried about. And they did it, put it in the printout. I couldn't tell you if I tried what they said. So anyway,
Are you complete?
I am complete.
Okay, cool. Okay, so Lee, as you guys know, Lee's been feeling badly, and she was feeling pretty good today. But Susan called because she was concerned about Wednesday and wanted to make sure that Lee was taking care of herself. And Lee had gotten a blood test on Tuesday, but the people hadn't gotten back with her on the results of the blood test. And so we called, I helped her call the place that gave it to her, and they were not responding. So we just took her down to the Instacare, found out the blood test was actually in her chart, which nobody knew was there, and indicated the infection, one part of the infection. But because UTIs, the older you get, the more infectious they can be. It's important to take care of it. So she's got her antibiotic that worked the last time. She had one last September or so, and it took care of it. So this should be just fine. And it just took longer at the Instacare than I thought it was going to take, because we just pulled in, and she's doing fine. So I'm feeling grateful that Fred is so willing to take over. I contacted Joe as well. And I'm just so grateful that you guys are here and ready to cooperate. I'm going to go on mute, and then we're going to go upstairs and get the computer turned on, and go for it from there. And so, Fred, if you want to start the conversation on the.
Was that me or
I've lost Steve.
me too?
Okay. Okay. Well, he wanted us to. He's on the way to his residence, so he'll be back soon. So let's start with Richard. Richard, would you like to set the tone and the direction for the discussion about the rules of engagement?
Well, yes, I can try. I think I sent some things out, but one of the things that was affecting me was the information that we've often talked about in terms of boundaries, that everything has boundaries. And I think that's the essence of what I was trying to convey, was that if we can establish a framework and there has been some guidelines as to what should be on the 4 nodes of the framework. And then inside, um, there's quite a lot of flexibility in terms of how one goes about uh, addressing and paying attention to the mission of the conversation in this case, or the meetings that we have. And so, with what we've done so far, um, I think we've established the possibility of some boundary nodes, 2 of them. We haven't really looked at what's the mission of our gathering, um, sort of focused on, so that we can all pay attention to that in terms of our particular ways of contributing inside the framework. And we haven't articulated the what I would call the leadership part of it, but we've actually been acting out what I think is the kind of leadership, and that's a facilitator type role that Steve largely assumes. And so, in that sense, we've got 3 of the 4, um, assuming that we all continue to agree on that. We've got something that we've starting to craft that would be a guide inside the boundary, and we need to spend some time on what the goal or the purpose or the mission of what we are gathering together to do. So that's just a quick sort of kind of summary of where I think we've got to this point.
Thank you. Did you send something? I have not received anything. Maybe you sent it only to Steve.
I have to look and see. I thought I sent something to everybody, but
Or maybe you send it through WeChat, through WhatsApp.
no, I'll go on my other computer and check and see exactly what I did or didn't do.
Okay, okay. Well, it's not very important. When Steve gets to his home, he will share it with us. It's okay, unless somebody else has access to it right now. You make a good point with the purpose. Once we set up the rules of engagement, we have also to clarify what the purpose, for what reason we all here on a Saturday night or Sunday, when we could be doing some other things. So that's quite important to do that. And the leadership role, facilitator, and I think Steve does that very well. So this maybe could be also clarified and defined, at least put in a way so as to make him feel good about what he's doing for all of us. So that at least that would serve that purpose. And the other type of leadership is about the content. And the book does leadership about that, but we also did that in 2 ways. The first is that we are the one that decided the book, and all the discussions we had about the books, despite that it tickled Wayne's patience, it was, I think, very useful to do that, because we had a really good discussion about pertaining to the choosing of the book, and that was quite interesting. And also the additional material that some of us at some moment brings up to the table in order to clarify some aspects of what we're studying in the books. That's also important. So yes, thank you for that. And this really place the whole work we're doing these few sessions into a wider context. Steve, are you home?
Yeah, I'm finally walked in. I'm just now booting in my computer, so life will be really good. I've heard probably about 80% of what you guys have said so far.
Yes.
Because I was going from the parking lot through the foyer, up the elevator, down the hall, I think I switched cell towers 3 times, and I lost some of the stuff. But I think we're in pretty good shape.
Yeah, Richard gave us a rundown on where we're at. and what we've done and what we probably should be doing in order to complete this document that we are.
Yeah.
These operating rules and rules of engagement, as I call them,
Well,
that we're working on.
Yeah.
for me, this is a really interesting conversation because we're kind of going through a discussion of what Kelly set up years ago that evidently you remember that I participated in specifically. But then when Kelly came off the call, we stopped using that protocol. And then we stopped using the protocol. And so rather than, there were a couple of other issues that came up. But it's nice to think that the protocol could be reinstated if that's what we desire to do. I think that's one of the potential conversations. So, whoops, hang on. There we go. In fact, I think I can just leave the meeting from here.
I think it's quite important to what we're doing is quite important. Actually, the protocol there was a copy of the protocol that we're talking about on every invite that we received from Kelly. Kelly was sending out the invites and the few points about being on time, sharing what we had to say, asking questions and all that. That was in the invite. And this created a strong context. And even though the deliberate reinstatement of this context at every beginning of the call, on every invite, or at every new intronization of somebody was not active for some time. The context survived. That tells us how strong the context was, and I think it's a good reason to reinstate that because it's useful to have a strong context. It helps everybody. Richard, your hands up.
Yes, I just was double checking and I realized what I sent to Steve for an initial sort of kind of thought or feedback, and I don't think it got distributed to everybody. And it was something that I did on Sunday last week, my Sunday, to try and get some information that would help us understand self-organizing and how it might work within our particular kind of gathering. So I don't know, Steve, whether you had a chance to look at that or whether we should circulate that to everybody for this session.
I'm going to check for it right now. I'm checking.
Yeah, take your time. I appreciate you coming right out of the car from the hospital from urgent care to do this. It's a lot.
Is Lee okay? Is she going to join us?
Yeah, she's trying to join us now. Are you there?
Okay, good to know. She's okay.
She may need
coming
rest
in.
too.
And this is weird because I thought I left the meeting. Okay, good. My
Yeah.
phone has left the meeting finally.
UTIs are
good.
pretty serious.
It's what?
UTIs can be very serious.
They can be serious. Okay, good. All right.
And just monitor that.
You know what, Richard, I don't have, but here comes Lee, I think. Yep, here comes Lee. I don't see, let me see, let me check my other email. I use 2 emails. I don't see anything from you, Richard, in either of my emails. I have a a Wednesday notice from you.
Yeah, what I've got here is that I sent something last Sunday morning, my time, at 9:20 a.m. So what I could do is forward it to everybody's email now.
That would be really good.
Okay.
I love getting the stuff in. I don't like being a bottleneck. I think that we're having a couple different conversations here. We're having a philosophical conversation in a way. And Lee is here. So Lee, do you want to say hello?
Hello, everyone.
Good.
I'm here. Finally.
And we're happy you're here.
Thank you. Not feeling good. I'm very
Relieved.
tired.
Well, get your rest. That's an important thing. I mean, I can't stress enough. I know, unfortunately, too much about UTIs, and you know, that they can, you know, be tough to get rid of sometimes, and but they, you know, they're definitely something that can be treated, and but it needs rest.
Mhm. So if I snooze, I'll wake up eventually.
Cool.
We'll
You
find
know
you.
what?
We'll
In
put this-
in solidarity,
put
I'm going to
this
do
to-
the same thing.
I love that.
Kelly used to say, when you snoozed out, we know where you at we know where you at by what you're at.
Yeah. Yes.
And Kelly was very respectful of somebody's sleep. I hung out with him in Australia quite a bit, and sometimes under jet lag, sometimes not. But he was very respectful of somebody's sleep. He said he was considering that it was one of the most important thing in
Oh,
somebody's
sure it
life
is.
was to sleep. I was of a different opinion about that, or state of mind about that. Even state of mind is something some vocabulary he disliked. My attitude towards sleep was, and still is to some respect, was that you have to apply violence to your desire to sleep in order to be present. That's that used to be my attitude to that.
And so Richard, are you complete, Fred?
Yeah. That was filling up the blank while you were looking for the documents.
Right on. So I did have this document. What you sent, I guess, Richard, was a link down here, right? Is this what you sent?
Yeah.
Oh, okay, good.
Yes.
I did have that. I was looking for a document, not a link.
And I just sent the link to everybody.
Right. What?
Thank you, Richard.
Sound is gone.
Then reboot. Because I don't know what else to do. Okay, so this is the document that you sent, Richard. And let me just say this, because I haven't been real attentive because I've been distracted. I think that this conversation is happening at many different levels. I do believe there's a leadership aspect that's really critical, because all of us are leaders, and understanding ground rules, what I call ground rules, understanding the framework under which this meeting occurs is really helpful in terms of developing my leadership skills. But I also want to say that because I'm going to call them ground rules, because the protocol basically includes the fact that everybody accepts the ground rules as their own. In essence, everyone becomes the leader. It isn't like one authority saying this is the way it is. It's like, here's an authority who suggests that this framework can be valuable as a window to have this experience, through which to have this experience. And then every person makes those ground rules their own. So in a sense, it's how to create an absolutely democratic or equal basis. Everyone comes in as a steward of their own truth. That's how I see it. So it can be several several different levels, and I've missed some of the parts in between, so I just kind of wanted to draw that summary thing. I'm complete with that. Does anybody want to comment on what I just said?
No, I'm in agreement with you, Steve,
Yeah.
is that, I think that by saying we're all leaders, there's an element of distributed leadership. And I think that that's actually the most important point of all. That we not necessarily look at this as one person putting down the rules, but rather everyone's participating in the process. So there's some ownership to be had by everyone. And I think that that's a really critical point to having a functioning group. So I see Fred had his hand up. Sorry, Fred. Kind of jumped in ahead of you.
So, Joe, you're complete?
I'm complete, sorry.
Fred, you waved your hand?
Yeah, I put it there. It was not useful.
Okay. I call those brain farts. Okay, really good. All right, so here's the document that Richard sent out. And Richard, what are you proposing? That we read through this?
Well, we certainly can. I was trying to address what might be sort of the differences between trying to set up a basic rules of engagement approach, and what was in my head as to what would be a self-organizing kind of an approach. And so I started out last week with a number of questions. And so we might even want to take a look at, well, what were the questions I asked of AI to start with? There was an answer to each one of them, and then I followed up with some other questions. And I was eventually getting to how could we set up a framework for the kind of discussion group that we have, trying to get it to be a little bit more tailored, if you want, customized to what we are wanting to do, and trying to, in my own mind, keep in mind what might be the difference between a self-organizing framework that's in my head and what might be the kind of rules of engagement framework that that all of us might have, and whether or not those two approaches are compatible, or whether one is going to emerge either as a hybrid of the other, or emerge as something that we want to be guided by, in the sense of the rules of engagement framework. Yeah. So I started out very broad, and then I tried to funnel it down to something that was more specific or relevant to our particular gathering.
So is there any part that's worth reading? Is the whole thing worth reading? You want to propose we read the whole thing from beginning to end? What are you proposing?
Well, what I'm proposing is to see what the questions were, and then I don't know if we have to read all of the answers, but to get a flavor of what kind of answer flowed out of each question. And there may be comments about whether or not it's addressing what we want to eventually be guided by in terms of our approach to this whole exercise of reviewing the rules of engagement. So I started out by basically saying, so what's the difference between self-organizing and kind of an outside or external approach to the rules of engagement? And then it started to go from there.
And then this was your prompt 2. And we can pursue it. So dynamics of self-organizing versus external outside organization. So it listed a couple things. control and authority, structured emergence, adaptation and resilience, scalability and speed, motivation and alignment. Is there anything particular there that you want to review before going to the next point?
Well, again, just trying to get our respective heads around the meaning or the definition of self-organizing being something that is kind of emerges and is guided by, again, from my own experience, it's been, if you've got the mission and the purpose out there, everything that's going on inside the framework is focused on accomplishing the mission. And we all have our different kinds of ways of doing it. There is no lockstep sort of way of getting to the vision, to the mission or the vision, in the way in which some strategic plans lay themselves out to do. And that's the big difference for me is the freedom to do something that will contribute to the vision that might be quite unique to the way I want to do it, and might even offend other people in terms of how they think we should do it. But the outside rules, the boundaries, allow us to respect that self-organizing freedom to work towards the goals.
Okay. Again, are there any particular parts that you think are worth reading? Particularly. I've identified your first prompt was dynamics of self-organization, and the first paragraph kind of summarizes the difference between self-organization and external top-down stuff where somebody dictates what's going on.
Mm-hmm.
Then you ask, what's the difference between self-organizing pursuit of a strategic planning, vision, mission, goal, and a step-by-step pursuit of strategic plan, vision, mission, goals? And it made a summary statement here. The main difference is that self-organizing pursuits treats a strategic plan as an evolving compass, allowing teams dynamically to pivot how they achieve their goals based on real-time feedback. A step-by-step pursuit treats the plan as a rigid blueprint. Cool.
Yeah, so one of the issues for me in that one, coming out of the study of another person some years ago, was the difference between a plan and planning. And planning is more of the verb sort of related way of it's always moving, evolving, flowing, and it's not requiring a step-by-step organized way of getting from A to B.
So are the principles the four nodes? I mean, essentially, is that what you're saying with that? Are those principles or what? Is that just the basis for the framework? How are you defining those?
Yeah, what we've done so far are two of the boundary nodes.
Okay.
And we've already, as Fred summarized as well, we've got a pretty good handle on what the, if you want, leadership part is all about. It's a facilitating role, and it's a multi-faceted kind of leadership. So it's not embedded in one person in particular. And it's the mission that I think is the most critical one to make sure we have an agreement around, because then I think that has a bearing on how we're going to kind of engage inside the framework.
So let me reframe this the question then. What's the difference between a principle and a node?
In this case, nothing.
Okay.
The principle could become one of the nodes.
This states prompt number 3 was how the dynamics of self-organizing principles operate on a 4-node framework of vision, mission, leadership, core values, and operational rules. In a four-node framework consisting of vision, mission, leadership, core values, and operational rules, self-organizing dynamics operate as a closed-loop feedback system. Instead of working as a top-down chain of command, these four nodes act as decentralized guardrails. They create an environment where order emerges naturally without a manager dictating the daily tasks.
It's definitely a regenerative effort there.
Now,
Yeah.
it broke down these four aspects. Is anything there worth repeating, Richard?
Why exactly do we need the AI at this point?
I don't know. Richard spent
And
energy
why
doing that.
and why is it do we get 20 pages of AI with no rework afterwards? We don't need the raw AI. What we need is what is useful for us.
Yeah. I think that feedback from our group is extremely valuable and probably more valuable than AI, but I also want to honor Richard's effort here. Here's prompt number 4. I think the questions that Richard's asking are really important questions. And you have your hand up, Lee.
I believe. Oh, you.
You have to unmute.
I believe it is very, very important for each individual that is on our meeting should have respect from everyone else, which I have seen very well most times. That's the most important. Each individual is a leader, my thought. And when I'm talking, I do like interruption, but respect in that interruption. And that's what I have to say. Thank you.
Thank you.
Well, we can pursue these questions or we can go in any number of directions. Whoops, I'm on mute. Well, you could probably hear me because.
I can't.
So we can go any direction we want to go here. The question I'd like to know what the process Richard was going through as he thought about this. That might be helpful. How many prompts did you have in there totally, Richard?
Um,
That was the 4th prompt. And then, you said, yes, a 1-page exercise was your last prompt. So evidently that gave you a choice of doing some things. I'm going to stick that in here.
yeah, so we got down to whether they wanted to provide me with a 1-page exercise, and I said yes. And it could very well be that 1 page is what we want to look at. And it's to funnel down through all of the things that I thought might be useful in understanding self-organizing and the kind of rule-based approach that we had. And it could be that out of all that, we end up with Fred's point of view that says, I don't know why we asked AI all this. We want to get down to settling how we want to do it. And I wanted to make sure that I'm not adding confusion by working from something that I understand is a self-organizing framework, because I could be way off in terms of how we want to build the boundaries for us to operate inside towards the vision of our gathering every week.
Are you complete, Richard?
Yeah, I'm complete. Yeah.
Okay. My opinion is twofold. One is I've got a very strong opinion about raw AI, and I'm not going to state them because I think you guessed them. And second is, we have something that works mostly. We were irked and tickled by some late coming behavior that was repeating and never corrected. And I think we're just there. We just remind we need to brush up a little bit the rules that we had, add whatever we want, and get done. And I think we've got 1 hour to finish it because it's already 3 sessions we do that. I'm going to act like Wayne here. Whoa, let's get done. Let's get done and let's get reading afterwards. So I thought that today we were just going to polish up a little bit the vocab we used on the last session. Be happy with the document and then print it and all commit that to make it our rules and let's get done with it. That's what I thought we were going to do. So, but that's only my opinion. We'll do as this goes.
Cool. You complete, Fred?
Yeah, I'm done. Thank you.
Go, Joe.
Yeah, I mean, I just think really quickly that some of the basic things that ought to be identified is that why or where and how and what, and it you're talking about frameworks within that. I think that's as those are fundamental things. I think categorizing things like that it really starts to get into how are we going to engage in each other and how does it relate to why we're doing this in the first place. And I think if we just start to kind of parse things out, and I think as Fred had mentioned that we have a lot of the things that we already need, maybe, but aligning it to those categories, if you will. And I think that would actually maybe go a long way as far as breaking out what is a role, what is the purpose, what's the mission, all those things become pretty clear in that process, and we start to really just and it's really basic. And so I think we just take what we have, put it in those 4 categories, and we can actually even build from there. And that's part of being emergent, is that you start to build or even take away in that process. I don't know.
Are you complete?
I'm complete.
Good. Yeah.
Yeah. First, I think you've been running these meetings for the past, I think, the group for 19 years, has it been? So I think that 17, 19 years, I think, from Susan and Fred and Wayne
and Kelly.
And Kelly, yeah. So that means that the basic framework is not broken, right? And it's worked really, really well. So I think we've already gone through that the last in the document that or the frame that Richard sent to us, that nice with the diamond and everything. I think that was already pretty strong as it is. So okay. So now I can see that there's one prompt that I get maybe where Richard is going with this, because there's one prompt here where Richard shared what this is for. I belong to a small online reading group, up to about 8 active members across different time zones, stating our countries, and this is basing it off Buckminster Fuller's work and so on. So after that came the it took into consideration the fact that we're in different time zones and gave us some solutions or suggestions as to what we can do. So I think if you look at that part and certain things you want to add in, but I think what we've got last week I really like that framework already, to just tweaking it and so on. Just whether you want to add in certain he calls it structural rather than this is design, what's the term for it now? This is design, we're using design.
Design versus plan.
So this is a design, the term I can't, it's somewhere. So, but the last bit there, it went into more a design science, Fuller's own ethos of design science. And then because of that, you can shift from punitive rules to structural design. So gave us some suggestions as to what we can do for some of the stuff. That is if we want. Yeah, I think that's where we are at, rather than to start all over again, but just to finish it off from what we had last week. That would be my take on this. Yeah.
Cool.
Yeah.
Go ahead, Richard. Did you start to say something?
Yeah. Well, I'm just in that kind of context and looking at the suggested template. And what was interesting for me was the vision, which they were calling a strange attractor vision, but in one sentence it said, maximizing the synthesis of Bucky's ideas through our unique global perspectives. That sounds like a fairly cogent, if you want, mission for us. And it seems to me that it reflects what we are trying to do. And that could easily be, that's, as they were calling it, that's our North Star. That's what we keeping our eyes and ears and focus on as we operate within a framework or a boundary. And as I say, I was using what we articulated over the last couple of weeks with the contributions that Fred was putting together, and I put two of them in a boundary place. I put one inside that seemed like it was supporting the self-organizing way we can all work towards that vision. And the two that we came to, I think, some kind of an agreement on kind of represent the notion of core values and operating rules in terms of two nodes that are often talked about in terms of these self-organizing frameworks. I'm complete.
Okay, so here's the North Star. Am I sharing that? I think I'm sharing it. Okay, good. So here's the North Star idea. I think this is really great if we were doing a study of what self-organizing and top-down type management is about. And I think that for most people, this discussion would be really critical. But I have a tendency to kind of, I think I'm agreeing more with Fred that Kelly set up the structure in the beginning, and we're just kind of looking back at it. And to get all this context together in the context of what Kelly put out there, I think is really powerful. And to get back to what Kelly put down there, and then we added a couple of things. I think we could just very quickly just go back and say, hey, are these then the rules that we want, the operational rules or the frame in which we want to operate these phone calls? And I'm not sure it needs more discussion than that, because this framework has worked for years and years. And I've always felt totally included, and I've always felt like everybody is included. There are times when a reminder to, I think that adding a couple things like these 5 agreements was really cool. I made them in bold. Whatever happens, don't make it personal, and never make assumptions. And I think sometimes that could be a helpful context. One of Richard's points, don't overinvest any particular outcome. That's a particularly helpful thing. And if somehow, for me, if these 3 ideas were put in this context that Fred so cogently put together, listing the actual 4 main rules and then adding, I actually said this, so I don't know that was an ad. I'm willing to make these I hereby make these rules my rules, and I agree to abide by them, suddenly then they're my rules, they're not yours, and that's kind of a very self-organizing factor, even if it was coached. And then and then adding in these others is very valuable. I think I'm just going to bring them up here as context. I do love the operating rules as well, which are let me see, hang on, I got something in the way. Okay to allow members to flow in and out of the study group, but stress continuity of the commitment. I was not sure exactly what this meant, to flow in and out. I mean, I think there's a difference between saying, gee, I'm going to be gone for the next month and then I'm going to come back, or I'm going to be missing tonight's meeting because of an issue, or today's meeting.
The
That's-
reason is
Go
the
ahead.
reason at that moment originally was that we were trying to attract people to join the group, and the resistance point was, I'm not sure I want to make a commitment that
Yeah.
I'll be there every week for
Right.
when somebody wanted to come. So Kelly decided that if we put this up, people would feel a little bit more free to get a taste of it and maybe like it and stay, instead of I can't commit, then I won't come, and then miss the opportunity.
And I think, Fred, this invitation to flow in and out and to take some of the pressure off is not the same as being consistently tardy to the meeting. That's a different issue. Do you agree with me? Or
Yeah, sure.
Okay, well,
The ability to flow in and out is a dynamic of the group over the long term, whereas the reason we're talking about this week was that punctually every single time we get irritated because somebody was late.
and
That's,
it's all subject to this rule that I will let the designated person know if if I'll be absent or late beyond the appointed time for a particular meeting. See, for me, the value of this is I'm going to make my word, my commitment to be present, more important than my ability to show up. In other words, I'm going to let my word and my commitment regulate my ability to show up. And for me, if I asked Manu, I said, Manu, if we move the meeting a half an hour later to give you that extra half hour sleep, and we set that time as a start time, would you commit to being at that time? And he said, no, he would not. And it's about health. It's about Manu's health. And I don't want him to jeopardize his health. So I think there's some practical value in saying, okay, this meeting's not for me because I can't keep my health and attend this meeting. So it's okay to say, I'm not going to attend this meeting. And if something changes and I can come in at the appointed time and I want to contact people and say, hey, I'm going to be able to show up tonight or today or this morning, that's another situation, because that would allow for the flow in and out. So to me, the value of these ground rules is I make my word, I make my commitment be more important than what's going on around me. And I think that's critical for a healthy person in any environment. So, I have one other question up here, but I really like these rules. I'm going to throw these other two things up here. Any comments on what I've just said? Or any other ideas?
I'm not sure I understand the distinction very well.
Between
Yeah.
what, Bren? What distinction?
You said there's two aspects of it.
The two aspects of the flow statement?
Yes. Did you mention something like that? Because I thought I was clear, and then suddenly after you said something, I'm no more clear. That's
Well, I think I'm pretty clear. Flowing in and out means that as long as I coordinate with the group leader, I can attend as regularly as I can attend, and I'm not committed to showing up at the appointed time every night, because I'm only showing up when I say I will show up. That's different than saying, I'm going to casually drop in whenever I can because of my circumstances. You know, to me, I tend to say,
Okay.
well, go ahead.
What does that mean in reality? Does that mean when that guy that connected with a group leader, does that mean coming on time once in a while, or does that mean coming late once in a while?
Yeah, I'm not clear on what you just said. I don't think, I think it's about coming. It doesn't, as long as I'm contacting my leader saying I'm going to be late or I'm going to miss this, that's cool. Or the designated person, whoever that is. And frankly, if if Joe contacts you and says he's not going to make it, that's as good as contacting me. There's nothing sacrosanct about me as a leader. I'm just facilitating.
I understand. Look, I'm a little bit reluctant to put this force as very important because I believe if I'm going to be late, I probably won't have the opportunity to tell anyone before I arrive late.
I sent
But
you
that's
an
going to
email.
be
I
but
sent you.
that's going to be my circumstances because being late is going to be something unforeseen, and if I can connect with you, I can connect to the call. So
Well, I
it's
thought I was going to
that-
be on the appointed time tonight. I sent you an email and I sent Joe a text. I said, "Hey, I'm probably going to be late tonight. I'm going to need some help connecting in. Are you going to be there?"
I understand.
Okay.
However, I'm usually not going to be late, and I'm usually not late. However, I know that circumstances that will force me to be late once in a while are circumstances where I will not be able to reach the leader and tell him before, because this would be unforeseen circumstances, something
Sure.
that happens, and probably due to connection. And if I can't connect to the call, I can't connect to the leader, and vice versa.
That's
So
that
putting
possibility.
this force is going to put me in a difficult situation if being late requires being able to first tell the leader before being late, because that's going to put me in a difficult situation.
Well, if one can contact a designated person or another member of the team and say, "I'm going to be beyond the appointed time," that would be a wonderful thing. And if one has circumstances where one is not able to do that, I don't think there's going to be any judgment about it. I think for me, the important thing is, hey, I'm about my commitment, and I appreciate that this group is an environment wherein I can exercise my commitment and get better and better at being my word. And there are unforeseen circumstances that I'm not going to hold anybody, there are unforeseen circumstances. But over and over and over again, week after week after week, that's another story, I believe. Do you think that that's another story, Fred? Fred, do you think that if
I think basically we agree. It's just we need to have a wording that reflects
Okay,
it.
well, we agree to principle. That's cool. Anne has her hand
Yeah.
up. Are you complete, Fred?
Yeah,
I'm good, thank you.
Yeah. Go
okay.
ahead, Anne.
This is just something. Yeah, when I first started coming for this meeting, yeah, it was pretty open ended. Because I didn't go through, to get it like sworn in like that. Yeah, I didn't. And it's been 5 years, and and I've tried to bring a few other people in. I thought would really, benefit as well, and that didn't work out. But for me, it did, and this is a commitment that is, that's very very strong, right? And I think we can see that all of us, we make the commitment. The ones that don't, after a while, they don't show up. Yeah. However, that ease of allowing us to come in was critical for whoever starts. It's true. Very, very true. That worked for me. Now, what I want to share is this. You see, this is not a short-term meeting. This is not a once-off either. It's a commitment for a long, long time, right? Or as short or as you want, or as long as you want, right? So
Yes.
one of the key things that I realized dealing with children in our schools is that we got to set up something where it is possible for them. You see, in Asia, the minute you do something that's out of the rule or the practice, you get punished, and they punish you a lot in the traditional Asian schools, right? A lot for literally everything, and you get hauled up in front of assemblies and stuff for the infraction can be really really tiny, and it's very childlike, it's very teenage-like. So if we ever we're expecting them to come to school and have those rules not broken, is impossible. It's impossible. You're going to set them up to fail. This is where I'm coming from. So in the schools that we're dealing with, I learned this. I can't remember where I got this from, but the minute is whether we're setting them up to fail or we're setting them up to succeed. So the rule that was given to not convenience, but the allowance allowed it to be to allow us to succeed. Okay, and so in the schools, we got to look at things that the kids are in. There's no way 100% of the time they're going to achieve it. So therefore, if you know they cannot, we're setting them up to fail. We put a rule there and we punish immediately. So what we did was we looked. That's why our kids say they want to come to school. I have a problem in our school because our kids don't want holidays. In Asia, that's literally quite unheard of. They just don't want holidays regardless of the age group, right? And all because the things that we know they're gonna break for sure, just when we remove them. And what we did was coming in late to school. If you punish them because their parents are late, it doesn't work either. The kids don't want to come, right? If you punish them for every bit of work they don't do, also it doesn't work. They won't come to school, they'll cry. The other one is if they forget to bring things to school, we're going to be punishing kids every day for not bringing in, for forgetting stuff, because they are kids, they will forget. So what we did for the forgetting, we make sure that we have all the materials there for the children. All right. If you forget that pencil for you, if you forget that paper for you. So the key thing is we focused on what we needed to get done, which is your work needs to get done. Learning has to take place. You bring the stuff, you don't bring the stuff, doesn't matter because we didn't make it matter. However, the kids, they respect this. But there's some who don't. And when they don't, then we deal with it separately. Does that make sense? Yeah. So I think the allowance helped, and there were times that you're right, Fred. That there are times that we cannot predict that we're going to be late. We didn't expect the thing to even go late. Yeah, like just today's event with Steve and Lee, right? So as long as we arrange it, we inform. I think that's us being accountable and responsible. I think that would work. Yeah. Because we respect everyone here, and everyone we know we are getting respect in return because we've been doing that for a long time. That's how we feel. And so we know that each and every one of us, we're not going to do something like that. Yeah, and we're dealing with this because we're feeling that something needed to be dealt with in order to kind of put this back in order. Yeah. Does that help? I hope.
Yeah.
Thank you, Anne.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you, Anne.
So am I missing something, or are we in a position to say, hey, look, I like this code of honor and these operating rules, the way they're presented here, and we'll just adopt these as our standard, as our framework. And is that where we are, that we want to do these, or do we need some further discussion, or do we need to change the conversation altogether? Where are we on this? Yeah. Yeah, Richard, go ahead.
One of the things that I picked up out of the template that was provided, I thought was kind of interesting. It might be able to be a part of this giving notice and so forth. And that was the one that had to do with if our particular time zone issues are such that we can't come in right away, or we're late, so to speak, that I like the phrase of you enter like a ghost and you try and catch the flow of what's going on. Um, and you may sort of catch the train, so to speak, as we're moving along that particular day or evening. And then you contribute as you get caught up.
I think that's very valuable. I think I found it here, Richard. This is it right here, right?
Yeah.
Are you seeing it? No, you're not seeing it. Hang on. I thought I had highlighted it. Yeah. I can do it the simple way. Here we go. There we go. This is right. This is it right here. Zero disruption integrity. The value shifts from never be late to if you are late, enter like a ghost. Late arrival should not ask, what did I miss? Or disrupt the current speaker. They should slip in to the flow silently. You know, the AI on Zoom allows a person to say, what have I missed? And the AI will actually build a summary, however good that is. And in fact, these AI summaries of our meetings are so off the mark that it's been hard for me to put them in the thing because the AI does not understand what we're talking about. But I love this rule here, Richard. This is the one you talked about, and I think it's very cool. So I don't mind adding that in too. So if I brought that in here.
I've experimented leading the group sometimes. When somebody comes late, wait until there's, it's probably part of the etiquette that we need to talk about, is welcome the person, ask them what they succinctly or concisely to tell us how they feel today and what is their desired takeaway, maybe apologize for being late, whatever they want to say. And maybe the leader at that moment can spend 1 minute telling them, okay, and it's also a good exercise for everybody. Say, okay, we've been talking about the definition of bits and we've been trying to understand how binary numbers work and jump in and try to understand with us. Something like that. So they give a short summary of what happened. And that I believe works well.
Yeah, and that's what we've kind of done. If somebody's beyond the appointed time, we invite them to share as soon as we have a stopping place. So,
yes.
Yeah, that's been good. I like that too. Anne, do you still have your hand up or is that left over? Is that an artifact?
Yes. Yeah, my hand's up. I just want to say that because I've gone to about 4 or 5 of Blair Singer's training in both in Singapore and Malaysia, and also crewed in 2 or 3 of his events. Yeah. So for him, it's like if you're late, there's a jar 10 ringgit. Yeah. Or anything, even take phone calls, certain ground rules that because he knows that we are all working and all that, and to commit 5 days, 3 days of our time coming in for training, that we still need to make sure our businesses are running, right? So he put those rules there, and there's a jar. So everybody knows if you're late, just pop in the 10 ringgit and you just carry on with whatever you're doing, right? And he's expecting us to be responsible that we're doing it not because we are tardy, right? Then the other one is Kelly's training in Malaysia. I've been to about 3 as well. It was similar. I remember there was one time that somebody had a business thing to do and he said, yeah, sure, go ahead. This is business, so go ahead. He actually gave that permission, yeah. And one last one is I have another trainer from the US, well, he's Australian, but based out of San Diego. There's certain rules, like there's certain words you can't even say in the classroom, which is try, you have to do, not try. So even like if I share this, I have to, but mostly it's like if you come in late, and so on, you have to do 10 push-ups, right? But it's not to punish, but get you fit. And if you cannot do push-up, it's okay. You do sit-ups, whichever you think. If you don't do that, you think you want to do squats, you do squats, because some people, the back cannot handle that. So, but the point is there are certain agreed actions that you can take, for that. But that is like 5-day training, 3-day training, 10-day training. You just got to get out sometimes and in, right? But this one is a 2-hour thing. So I don't expect that, but yeah, if you have that rule and people stick by it, I think, I don't know. Yeah, that's what I have. Yeah. Fred, over to you, huh?
Thank you, Anne. That's very interesting, very funny actually. In our dojo, we have that rule. Somebody comes late, 10 push-ups. Somebody comes very late, 20 push-ups. And we don't have to say anything. They come in, they get dressed, they do their push-up, they join the group, and that's it.
Yeah.
Nobody says anything because they know. And this is a strong context where every newcomer sees that happening, looks surprised the first day, and then they arrive late and they do it, and nobody says anything anymore. I visited some dojos. I visited many dojos, and that's a tough thing to do when you're a martial artist, to visit unknown dojos because you never know how they're going to welcome you. But I visited some dojos where the sensei, the master, was giving lectures to those that were there, telling them, scolding the guy that did not show up, and telling everybody that was there, you should show up and all that, and getting all worked up on that. Hey, we're here. Say that to the guy that didn't show up.
Right.
Yeah.
So
I love that.
I see on occasion, not a lot. I see on occasion this kind of behavior where the people that did the right thing get scolded for the guy that did not do the right thing,
Yeah.
and it's
That's very Asian.
That's one category of mismanagement of people. That's
Yeah. Fred,
scolding
you're right.
the guy that showed up for those that did not show up.
Mm,
Anne,
I'm
would
not-
you say something?
okay.
Okay,
No,
I
I'm just agreeing
Oh.
with Fred. It's a
Yeah,
very
me
Asian
too.
thing.
And to me, the idea of when I walk into the dojo late, I just go over and start doing my 20 push-ups. To me, that's really truly a manifestation of, hey, I'm getting in the flow. This is my commitment. And everybody sees that, and they know when they're late, that's their turn. And they see the guy getting in the flow of the deal. So that's really cool. I think we've had a good discussion. I like our list of points that I've shown here about Bucky Call. I love the fact that I added in the dignity thing, Richard, your line on when I come in, the last thing I want to do is talk about how late I am, unless it's significant. I mean, if I was at the hospital and something, you guys would want to hear about that. But just to distract off the conversation when there's no value, I really like your point. So I added that in. I think you saw me add that in. So what I propose we do is I'm going to send out this sheet. If you guys know how Word works, you can highlight something and put a comment on the side and comment on the sheet and make it your own sheet. As long as we have guidelines for being at the appointed time and letting everybody know, we go back to our old protocol with maybe a renewed commitment to visualize something powerful for ourselves in terms of what our protocol means in terms of leadership and in terms of personal integrity and commitment. I think that's wonderful. And I'm ready to end it, approve what we've got written and end the discussion there, or do whatever else anyone wants to do. And I'm complete. Fred, go ahead.
I agree. I'm looking forward to recommit. That is, I'm looking forward to have everybody recommit, but I am looking forward to my recommitment, and I'm looking forward to have everybody in the group just go through this short ritual of recommitting based on making those rules ours and all that. I think that's going to sort of magically build a structural context around us and also bring us closer together. I think that's a good thing.
Wonderful. And I would think let's vote on them next time. I'll send them out. If you want to change the rules and add a word here or there and propose that, I'm all for that. When I did my workshops, we used to have ground rules, and my workshops were so different. Most workshops did a 10-minute ground rule process. If you agree, stand up, or if you don't agree, stand up and walk out the door. I never did that. It took me, I had like a 40-hour workshop over 2 or 3 weekends. And I always spent 3 hours to make sure everybody got that they were empowering themselves to self-organize and be present at some level. And I mentioned this last time, but like I would talk about in my ground rules, I'd say, okay, for the duration of this workshop for the next 3 weeks, I'm going to eat steak every night, or I'm going to have eggs for breakfast every morning, or I'm going to be a vegetarian for the next 3 weeks. Because for the next 3 weeks during this frame, I want to develop some new discipline for myself, something the doctor told me I should do. And I mentioned to you the girl, I didn't require anybody to pick any ground rules of any significance. It was just pick a frickin' ground rule, something you commit to. What was be in your seat at the appointed time was the main one. And this girl changed her life by quitting. She tried to quit smoking like 10 times in her life. She's a single mom, and she just, once she realized she had the power to create her own frame, she was just powerful. And that's what I think these rules have. I have one rule I want to talk about yet that I'm still a question mark about it, but I'm prepared to send these out. We can talk about them and vote on them next week. That's what I'm voting for. Richard, did you have your hand up, or did you put it down again? Okay, good. All right. Well, then I would like what?
What is the rule you want to talk about? Let's do that.
That's what I was gonna do. If we didn't have another discussion, I was gonna share with you this one concern. I'm concerned about this rule right here. You know, I'm giving permission to group members to call me out if they find I'm out of this frame. I like the whole idea, but I'm just not sure on what call me out means. And I like what Fred said about, hey, when somebody's late, and as we've done, we give them a chance. As soon as we have a space, we give them a chance to say, hey, how are you feeling? And what do you anticipate today? And that's supposed to be the invitation to get in the flow, just like the 20 push-ups. You know, stay out. Go ahead.
I'm going to address that. And I'm sorry, I'm breaking the rules by you have your hand up. I don't.
Okay, go ahead.
I asked a question, so please
Go
answer.
ahead. Yeah.
It's I don't think we need to explain that. I think we're doing it naturally. When somebody starts to break the rules by over talking, speaking loudly, not listening anymore, when situation is heated, you just shut us up. That's calling us out.
Yeah.
That's what it is. And calling out is saying, look, you should brush your teeth before coming because you got bad breath. That's calling somebody out. It's not happening on Zoom, hopefully, but then yeah, I think it's important to be able to call somebody out when they. It just normalizes a behavior that we do anyway, and it also incentivizes people that don't usually do that to do it, and it helps everybody to be a leader and lead the group.
Okay, good. I just changed it slightly. I'm giving
Okay, but
permission.
that's my opinion. Now we can amend it and change the way it's
Sure.
said.
So based on what you
Yes.
just said, I've changed the rule. I've changed the wording slightly, and I'm happy to change it any way anybody wants. I'm giving
invite me to accountability. I like that.
Yeah, I'm giving my permission to group members to call me out, invite me to accountability when I'm out of this frame. I like that wording.
Thank you.
Good. Cool. Anne, your hand is up. Richard, you're next. Oh, yeah, Anne, your hand is up.
Yeah.
Richard, you're next.
Okay, I will help put this into context, yeah, because we went through Blair Singer's Code of Honor. Yeah, I have his book. I read it. I've got his video. His his audio recordings as well. So, and we went through his training, right, on Code of Honor. We have our own Code of Honor as well in our school, and one of them is to call each other out. And this one is, and the power, I just want to let you know how well it actually works, you know. And when you actually put it out there and everybody understands it, the ones who are fearful of speaking out, right, then they are given, they feel very empowered to actually to be able to deal with an issue because it's objective, it is not subjective, you know. And so this calling me out, anything out of order from a code, or like in this case, what we agreed upon in our code and also operating rules, yeah, by us even agreeing to this, it is very, very, very empowering. Yeah. And imagine doing this in Asia with Asians who really avoid confrontation, avoid telling each other anything. It can be deemed confrontation. Yeah. Call out a person is on is an agreement for all. It's very, very easy to do this. So much easier. So I just want to share with you what has happened within an organization that has this. And when we actually go through this and people agreeing to it, it is very, very empowering. Yeah. I'm done.
Thank you, Anne.
Okay, Fred.
Richard is first.
Oh, I'm sorry, Richard. I'm so sorry. Go for it, Richard.
Well, I was agreeing with your addition of the framework, and I think it's important to be able to call out with respect to being outside the boundary, which is different than calling out of my personal interpretation of what I think is right or wrong. So that really means that we have to focus on, so what is the outside the boundary? And it becomes something a little bit more objective than just me calling somebody out, which may sound like it's a personal calling out. But so I like that addition that you put in terms
Good,
of
and Richard,
outside of the frame.
yeah, and so from your words, it dawns on me that I invite people to call me in.
Okay.
Call me into the frame.
Right.
Yeah.
That's right. That's
So
right.
call me in. Invite me to accountability when I'm out of this frame. Cool. I love it. Fred, your hand is up.
Yeah. A bit up. Point number 1A. This protocol is an opportunity for me to build self-trust. I think that's an addition to this being on time is an opportunity to build trust between each other. And I think we should not drop that.
Mm,
So how's
Yeah.
mm. Okay.
I would actually put it in reverse, to build mutual trust and self-trust. But that's, again, my personal opinion.
And I'm happy to do. I like self-trust first. Let's call for a vote. Who likes
Okay, that's fine. It's not very important. It's
Okay,
just
good.
preference.
Well,
I'm not done. 1B.
Okay.
1B.
Oh, yeah, 1B.
I like it better if we write whenever possible. I will let the designated person.
I like that.
Mm.
Let me see. The designated person. How about if I just say, okay, the designated person. I like saying I'm happy to have them reach anybody.
Yeah.
Let's do this like this. I will let a group member.
Okay, good.
Because everybody leads.
Yeah. Good. I like that.
And so that group member can relay this information.
Good.
Yeah, this looks great.
Any other feedback? Cool. I'll send it out. I've got the stars over here, and then I have the other feedback.
Joe is a sign up.
Uh-oh, Joe.
Yeah, no, yeah, I have my hand up, but I just no, I think we're good to go. I mean, the one thing I would just say is that the more rules we put in place, I like the reframing of everything that we've done. But I'm just saying, the more rules we put in place, the less spontaneity that there'll actually be. And so just keeping that in mind. If the goal is spontaneity, the more specific that we get, even though there's a boundary that can actually then be like, okay, well, now we can hold some accountability. And I agree, like, what are the qualities that of of what it means to be inside and outside the boundary. But but there is somewhat of a it just becomes a little bit more operational. And when I say operational, I mean it's just this is we're not going to deviate as much, and I don't know if that's a good or bad thing.
Okay.
That's all. Just but anyway, something I also put in the chat, something people might be interested in. If we're talking about trust and some of the repeatability behaviors that actually, in order for trust to exist, I'm in full agreement of that. But even then, spontaneity gets every rule comes at a cost, and I think we should kind of keep that in mind. But something I put George Washington's 110 rules in the chat, just as a interesting reference. But one of the things, it's more about manners than anything else, but what it enables is there's a certain predictability to the behavior that we have, and that enables us to have that trust. But again, I just want to make sure that some of the spontaneity isn't lost.
I'm going crazy, guys.
I'm done. I'm complete.
Good. I move the giving my permission into rule number 5.
Yep.
And then I'm hereby making these ground rules my rules. I agree to abide by them. And I moved some other things around here based on my own preconceived ideas of what might be cool. And I hope everybody's good with that.
Zero disruption, integrity. The value shift from never be late to when I'm late. It's more of a philosophical discussion at that moment, or historical discussion. We don't need all that, do we?
I don't know. It's up to you.
When we don't need the value shift from never be late to when I'm late. Do we need that?
Okay, you're just saying that zero disruption integrity. I will not ask, what did I miss? How's that? Is that what you're saying? Just leave all this out.
We can no, you can add I will enter like a ghost.
I can add that?
Actually, I would remove the value shift from never be late to when I'm late. We
Okay.
might keep it as a note to explain it, or to keep the reasoning. When I'm late, I enter like a ghost. I do my 10 push-ups. I think we should leave it there. I do my 10 push-ups, because that's going to give an idea. What? and then people can ask, and then we can tell them.
Can't do 2. I can't even do 1.
We're going to work on Lee with her push-ups.
Yes. You can do sit-ups too. That's
You
okay.
can do
Somebody
sit-ups.
said.
You can do lay on your back, bring your knees up.
Oh, that's
Okay, good. She can bring her knees up. Okay, so
In any case, it's good for you.
Yeah, that's
Yeah,
right.
it's
If it doesn't
it's
kill you, it's
proportional.
good for you. Yeah, if it doesn't kill you. Go ahead, Richard.
Yeah, I'm just intrigued with the way in which one sort of unfolds the notion of what the base is. And rule-based is really a fundamental type of approach to something. Anne has sort of spoken about some of the problems of being rule-based, but nonetheless, it's still part of our heritage in many ways. And so when I think of it, the difference for me is going from rule-based to vision-based. And then I think of it a little bit more, and in terms of the context of our talk, I'm being able to call out and call in. It becomes sort of boundary based, and whatever our boundaries are, we're agreeing to the boundary, and we're agreeing to work inside that boundary to the best of our ability. And we're open to being called out when we're out, and we're also open to being called back in. And we give the chance to recognize being out and in. So yeah, thank you for this opportunity to talk about what kind of base we're working from. And I think it's a big challenge to go from rule base to some other kind of base without getting rid of the rules, without getting rid of the importance of some kind of boundary or structure that we work inside towards some kind of goal or vision. That to me is the essence of self-organizing, sort of a simplified way. So thank you.
Cool. Fred.
Yeah, I want to react to that. There's nothing wrong with rules-based. It's actually a very good thing. It prevents self-organizing in the direction we don't wish to, and it allows people to know where we're going before we're going there and decide whether they want to go there this way or not. So it's we create tradition with rituals, and we make it smooth for others to decide whether they want to join in or not. I think it's a very good thing, rules-based. There's nothing wrong with rules-based. And I would
No,
die
and
on
again,
that.
I'm not saying there was
I would-
anything wrong with it. I'm
I would die.
just
I would die on that hill.
yeah, right.
Mhm.
Are you complete?
I'm done. Thank you, Joe.
Yeah, I'm just gonna say something really quickly, and this is a bit philosophical, but I think it's relevant. One of the things about if you look at Greek or if you look at certain types of Latin, or even if you look at certain types of English, you start to get into when something becomes very functional versus very conceptual. And there are I think there are concepts and there are boundaries. And I think that that's kind of what Richard's really talking about, is that how do you go from something that is just functional, where you're just, it becomes routine to the point where you're not thinking, and versus something that is a boundary where you have a concept, but it is, there's still some emergent property within that. And I do think that, again, if you look at words and the way words are used, the meaning of, the word attention is something that I've actually thought about lately a lot. And what it's meant in today's world, it's very mechanistic, it's very mechanical. There's the paper, attention is all you need. And it's just very functional. If you look at the way the Greeks looked at the word of attention, and in the terms of the idea of prosoke or something along those lines, it's what I am attending to. And there's an element of awareness and excellence that goes into that. And the only reason I just make that distinction is that you want something that's a little bit more conceptual rather than just getting too functional. So again, rules are good, but if you get it to the point where it's so rigid, and I don't think we're there, that's where it becomes a little bit dangerous. That's all.
Cool.
I'm complete.
Oh, it's me next then. Okay, I just love all the feedback that's going on, and while everybody was working, I added a new rule. And so yeah, that's it's the power of the keyboard I have here. But let me, because it's something we've been doing, and I found that we've been doing it, and it seems to work pretty well. But let me see, I'm sharing. Yeah, I'm good. I've added some AB structure to this stuff, and when it says, "I will tell the truth," and I agree that at times others may disagree with me, and that's okay. I agree to suspend judgment. I I will not overinvest in any particular outcome or opinion. I think I can add there, or
rule.
rule, opinion. Oh shit.
Are we making it too complicated?
Yeah, we
Should
are.
we
That's what I do.
Yeah.
That's how I live my life, Fred. Please be quiet.
Should we have two documents? One is
We can
what we
can take anything off of here.
what we
Fred, we
commit to as being, I make these rules mine and I agree to abide by them. And then we have an operating something that says, okay, practically speaking, not interrupting means you raise your hand and then you lower it and stuff like this.
Well,
So
I
we have
added
to-
that here. I added here. I will tell the truth. I will tell my truth, and I agree that at times I will raise my, and we can put this down below in operating rules, but I put down here, I will raise my hand to share. I will lower my hand when I have completed my thought and or say I am complete. And I started, that seems to be a convention that we all are pretty good with.
Yes.
And, and maybe I can add here, if my hand is not raised, I won't share. When my hand is not raised, I won't share. Now, maybe I'm making it
Which I just did.
What?
Sorry. Which I just did, sorry.
That's why I'm making it the rule, Fred, because you just broke it. So I'm going to write that.
Call me on
Yeah.
it. Call me in.
Raised, I won't speak. And I don't mind casual things, but I think that sets a structure, and I don't think that's too rigorous. And does create a good context, and nobody has to assume. And I see your hand up. Let me just say this about that. One of my pet peeves about life is that ground rules are absolute frames. Ground rules, boundaries are absolutely critical. And most groups don't get conscious of those boundaries. And so there are all these assumptions. And I love this where it says make no assumptions. And what we're doing is we're eliminating assumptions. And we have a very complete frame. And it's an invitation to become one, become the monad, right? Because here's the thing that I really love. This becomes the self-organizing principle. This is when I convert from authority to self-authority. I am making these rules mine, and I'll abide by them. They're not your rules, they're my rules. And I think that those things, clarity, completeness, and boundaries are just really critical. And then self-organization, this idea that I'm making these my rules, that's absolutely critical. This is not about some outside authority. This is how we're going to work together as a group, And I'm happy to change. I'll send these out and you guys can reword them any way you like. What?
That rule, you need to make it more forceful. You need to, I'm hereby making these rules mine, and I will abide by them.
I hereby make these rules mine. You put it in declaration, right?
Yes, and I agree, and I will abide by them.
Okay, good. Good. Now we have the self-organizing principle, and maybe we should call it the self-organizing principle. I'm complete. Are you complete, Fred?
Yeah, I'm done. Thank you. Sorry.
Good.
Okay.
Anne, go ahead.
Okay, there's one I will object to vigorously and emphatically.
The push-ups.
No, the raising the hands.
And you took the right hand. That's exactly what I was going to say. I'm sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt.
Yeah.
Okay.
That's the thing. We should be able to, okay, maybe let me share with you because I'm coming from this the Asian side of things, right? This is exactly what they make all kids do to raise their hands, and nobody ever raises their hand in our country, in our countries in Asia. And it's one of the worst things they can ever want to do. In fact, one of the worst things for them to even want to raise their hands. But that aside, outside of the fact that it is one of the key things that make our education systems so rigid is that rule, right? Number one. Number two is that, the whole idea of raising hands and all that, it's like it's up to you. Like we raise our hands, and it came about because we just wanted to make sure we're in turn, very organically in our groups. Yeah. So I really, really feel it's not necessary to put it into as a rule, because it becomes very, very rigid in Asia, to the point where it became something. And the minute my students they go overseas to study, and it works really, really well in in the universities, whether it's Australia or UK. And when I was teaching in the Canadian PRIU program in Malaysia, the students, it's so powerful to see the students just opening their mouths to just share something in not a disruptive manner, not fighting over it, not being disruptive, just sharing something. When as the teachers are teaching, and I, for one, as a teacher, I welcome that in my classes, and it becomes a free-flowing discussion in a class. Yeah. So and that's exactly what we have been doing. We just kind of started raising hands so that we get in line to talk, and so on. That's it. And I like that, and we should just leave it at that. Yeah. So this is where I'm coming from. Thank you very much.
How about I will not talk over others?
I don't think we need to do that.
Okay.
And
all right. I like the idea of. There have been times when that's been important in this call, but we can bring that as an emergency mode. Any other thoughts, comments? Richard, your hand is up.
Yeah, I was just thinking of our time frame, and Anne wanting to share her one pager, and
Sure.
I would like to appreciate the sharing, and
great idea. I'll send this out. Without any other conversation, Anne, we'll turn the time over to you. And do you have
can I do it at the end, because I don't want it recorded?
It is the end.
No, but everybody has gone first, and then I'll do
okay.
last. Then we don't record the last bit.
Wonderful. Then you'll be last, I'll be first. Okay, I feel really good today. This has been fun to talk about, because this idea of me claiming my space and being my own authority is just really critical. I love it, and I'm gonna maybe propose next week that maybe we do it every year. Just go through it and go through the ground rules, just like we did tonight, just to get clear on what's going on, and I'll get to remind myself what it means for me to respect myself and respect others, and to declare my own authority over myself. So I'm going to propose we do this every year, and or at least between books. And I'm excited about tonight. It's been really valuable for me to hear. I feel I'm sitting with a bunch of experts, and it's just really I love sharing these ideas about, like Fred said, a tradition or a ritual. I just think that rituals and traditions bring and create a space for me to add meaning to whatever it is I'm doing, and I really appreciate that opportunity. Lee, how are you feeling tonight, and what are your takeaways? I'm going to mute.
I want to go to bed. It has been fun listening to all of you and having this statement put in and then deleted 2 minutes later. It has been so interesting, or corrected for that matter. I was thinking of how I got Steve really upset when I finally said, I can't handle it. I don't feel good. And he says, why didn't you tell me this early in the day? Because I felt good then. It was not the same. But yes, he puts those rules on me often. And they're good. They're very good. I love all of you, and I appreciate you and letting me go to the urgent care and make him late. Sorry about that. It was my fault. Richard, how do you feel, and what is your takeaway of today?
Well, I'm feeling pretty good, and to say I'm interested and excited to hear what Anne has to say, and I appreciate the opportunity to be able to share some of what I've experienced over time around this whole idea of self-organizing, boundaries, working inside and outside. So thank you. This has been, again, it's one of those things where you don't often get a chance to sort of discuss these kinds of issues in a open dialogue kind of way. So thank you. Where are we? Joe, how are you feeling? What's your takeaway?
Yeah, I think that there's an important takeaway here to be had is that and I really like what Ann said. I think it was very, very important as far as the hand raising function. I think it's necessary, but there's something about having something as the written rule and the spirit of the rule. The written rule is something that's literally, literally what it means, but the spirit of the rule is why it exists in the first place. And that really kind of gets back to my initial comment of what I had said initially, what I talked about when if we answer the question why, or which is the mission or the vision as to where, or the values as to how or what, I think it's important to keep in mind, what is the rule trying to accomplish, and what are we actually allowed to do? And so if you're thinking about it in terms of the spirit of the rule, there's an element of reasoning that goes into it. The rule is there, but there's still an element of spontaneity that's allowed. So you may have a rule that says, okay, you have to raise your hand, but what are you going to focus on more? The raised hand feature? Are you going to focus on it from a compliance standpoint, or are you going to focus on the spirit of it? And I think that there's two big distinctions there. And by focusing on the spirit of it, I think that is a much healthier way of actually really engaging. These are great rules. Good that we have them. If we adhere to them too closely, we become something that is rigid and compliant, and that is definitely lacks spontaneity. So I've had a lot of conversations in the past couple of days about how people manage themselves to metrics to their own detriment. And they end up managing themselves to the metrics as opposed to the situations that they're in. And they end up missing the problem they're actually trying to solve because they're just managing themselves to a metric. So there is and if they always focus on being efficient versus effective. So maybe that's another way of framing it. So, I thought it was very helpful. I think it's a lot of different, points of view that were offered, and I think a lot of good rules. But I am a little worried about becoming a little too rigid with them. What is it? Is it Fred?
Yes.
How are you feeling?
Thank you,
What is your
Joe.
takeaway today? Thank you.
Thank you, Joe. I'm feeling pretty good with the discussion today. I think we've got a document that's useful, and discussion was very clarifying for everybody, I think. So that's good. My takeaway is we need to work on etiquette. We have a list of a few things for etiquette. I put the definition of tradition in the chat. Tradition is peer pressure from dead people. And there's a paradox. And there's a paradox about new traditions, which let's not go there. But tradition is a very interesting rabbit hole to explore. Rules. Why do they exist in the first place? I don't know, but I know about government rules, government regulations. Every single government regulation exists because of disasters that kill people, and that's how they came to exist. That's about government rules. And my wonderful takeaway today is cogent. I put a definition in cogent. I put a definition in the chat. And I very much thank Stephen for qualifying my interventions as cogently, because I like that word now that I've looked at the definition. Thank you. Are we done with everybody? So we should listen to Anne and then shut down the recording and listen to Anne again.
Thank you so much. Yeah, first I just want to say, this raising hands. Okay, first I really love every one of you here, because the document that we've created, I think is beautifully done. And changing the agree to disagree to how it's being phrased is beautiful. And Joe, you when you speak, half the time you will have this phrasing or something that just whams through the whole thing, talking about the spirit of the rule. Yeah, and you're right. It's the spirit of the rule, that the element of reasoning. So one of the rules that we changed in our school, we created a new rule. You can eat in class. There's such a no-no in Asia. Eating in class is like your bad behavior, is indiscipline. What? So our school, you can eat in class. There are certain parameters, behavior expected when you eat, but we realize that kids, they're growing, they're hungry all the time, and therefore if they're not eating, they're hungry, they cannot pay attention. That's it. So allow them to eat, and then we have no issues with. And the worst part in Asia is that Malaysia in particular, all students break that rule in some way, shape, or form while they were still in school and they ate in class anyway. So we didn't want to have them rules that they can break, because they get the idea that the rules are there, but I can choose what to break, what not to break. It's a very dangerous mindset to have when they move forward as they grow up. Okay, I just put it out there. Okay, what I wanted to share is this. And Lee, please get well. Yeah, take care of yourself, please. Can I share the document? I don't like AI giving me all answers. So this is not coming from that space. I have a lot of content, and AI has helped me put it in context. So let me see. Share.
We should stop the recording first, should we?
Yes, please stop the recording. Thank you.